it's me, Sarah. I'm here to teach you painting representationally and underpainting. Underpainting is a big part of painting representationally. That's why I'm including it in these classes. And there will be many. This is something that could go on forever if I wanted it to. Anyway, again, my name is Sarah Young. I'm a painter, and I've been teaching art for on and off for about 20 years, maybe a little longer, and mostly kids. And I have learned that when you give a kid an assignment, they get bored because it's your assignment. Now, if you give a kid materials and something they're excited about and say, hey, do something with that. Show me what you love. Show me what you like. Show me what you hate. Do what you gotta do, man. I wanna see you fly. Those kids, they stay engaged, and that's what I'm gonna do. No matter what age you are, no matter where you're from, no matter where you're going, I want you to paint what you love. That's what we're going to be focusing on. So the first thing I want you to do is think about picking something, 1 or 2 items, maybe 3 if you want to challenge yourself, something you love for whatever reason. Make them simple items if you're not good at representational yet. Not easy, simple. So something simple would be something like this hammer. I love this hammer. It might be a strange thing to some people to hear that I love this hammer, but if you look closely, you'll see the beauty in the metalwork. I mean, this is something. This hammer, it has a history that it had long before I came along, and that's why I love it. So choose something you love, because there will be times when you're painting and your painting will be awful and you'll want to quit and you'll hate yourself and you'll hate your parents and you'll hate the floor and you'll hate your dog. I mean, you might not hate everything. I'm joking. That's just how I feel when I'm doing something that's awful. You probably aren't like that. You're probably a good person. But there will be times when you're going through anything you make and you'll look at it and you'll be like, I don't even know what this is and I want to quit. But if you've chosen something that you really want to paint well, you'll stick with it. Choose something that you really love, that means something to you. As again, simple, but not easy. That's the first thing. The second thing is you want a well-lit area. Hopefully an area where you can leave your stuff up. Because if you can leave your stuff up and look at it as you're working on it, you'll see places you can work. You don't have to do it, but if you have it, great. Now, let's talk about paint. Every representational painting I do, every painting I do, I paint black paint under it. I'm going to grab you now, so you just be careful. Okay, so I use house paint that I find at hardware stores, and these are mist tints. So this whole gallon of paint is like $9. And that's a huge savings over buying like a tube of paint that's like 10 to 20 bucks to just paint a black surface. I mean, this happens to be just an old piece of wood that I painted black on because I'm practicing. I'm not going to buy a brand new canvas to practice on. I mean, if you have one, great, do it. You know, via con Dios, my friend. But for me, when I practice, I keep it low. I keep it low brow because that's how I roll. So the other thing you could do is if you have some nice thick either watercolor paper or, you know, some very nice thick drawing paper, is you can tape it to an old piece of wood. I'm a big fan of old pieces of wood, and I have so many. So you use painter's tape, and that way when you paint this and it dries, it won't dry all like wavy. It'll dry flat if it's taped down. A lot of people use gesso to paint over paper, and that's great. Gesso is generally white. I'm sure there's black gesso. I haven't used gesso in decades because I just do the black house paint on a board thing. That's my trick. I do use canvases when I'm doing commissions, but that's because I know that the people who are buying my piece expect it on a canvas. So 6 of 1. That doesn't make sense, but whatever. Okay, so we have grab a piece of wood, grab a piece of paper, paint it black for Wednesday. Wednesday we're going to come back to that. Now, what I'm going to teach you some very basic things that will basically give you enough information so that you will be able to paint representationally if you practice. And that's the key. Practice. Now, I'll give you an example. I gave an 11-year-old girl 3 pieces of advice for painting: how to paint representationally, how to underpaint, and how to do shade, and how to read light on an object. And at 11 years old, she painted this charming pig on a toilet. I love it. I keep it in my bathroom. And then at 19, because she was practicing, and because she loved it, and because she worked at it, this is where she came. Now, I gave her just a few pieces of advice. The rest was her work. The rest was her putting in the time. So this is what I'm saying. It's a skill. Anyone can learn to paint representationally, but it takes work. You have to practice. So, I'm happy to teach. I'm happy to be here to answer questions. You can email me. But if you're not going to practice, you're not going to get better. And that's okay. It doesn't matter to me. You know, spend your time however you want. We all have a lot of time on our hands coming up here, so you might as well. If you're interested in painting representationally, this is a great time to get started. So, again, I can give you just a few directions, and with that, and your practice and your heart, you can get really, really great at representational painting. Okay, so this is what you need. You're going to need, as I said, a well-lit area. As I said, black paint, old wooden board or some paper, or if you want a canvas. I mean, you know, prepare your surface for next week. Paint your surface black. Not for next week, for Wednesday. Sorry, I'm in teacher mode, and I always say next week. Wednesday. Paint your surface black for Wednesday. I like to use a house painting brush when I paint my surface black. Again, it's easier. So I always have rags. I always have Q-tips because I love painting with rags and Q-tips. Palette knife, I mean. And then I have all kinds of brushes. Again, you're just learning how to paint. So, you know, don't buy super expensive brushes yet. Wait to see, you know. Buy some craft brushes if you have some. Use whatever you have. If you have some house painting brushes, use that. Just make a bigger piece of wood. I usually use glass for my palette because it's a hard surface. Some people like to glue or tape white on the underside of their palette. I don't. Well, it doesn't. I mean, it's up to you. It's completely up to you. I usually have a couple of containers to put water in, 2 or 3. I have a razor to scrape off the paint as it dries, when it dries. And I have plastic wrap to put on the palette when I want to take a break and the paint won't dry out. Get a good squirt bottle, because you're going to need to squirt down your palette. Squirt, squirt. And you're also going to want sometimes to squirt your piece of wood. You might want to wipe something off, and if you squirt water on it, it's easier to wipe off. Okay, paint. If you have yellow, warm and cool yellow, warm and cool blue, warm and cool red, you can create any color paint you want. So don't waste your money on purple, orange, and green. I mean, if you want to do it, go for it. But like, I like to develop my skill of color mixing. So I really just have yellow, red, and blue, because I like to come up with the colors that are going to work for my painting. I don't want golden to dictate what paints I'm going to use. I mean, again, this is a personal thing. And the thing I want you to come away with is, don't paint like I paint. Paint like you paint. I'm just going to tell you what I do. I don't want you to do what I do. I want you to find your own style. If you are stoked, like Jim Carrey loves buying tons of different colors of tubes of paint. That's his happy place. And you know what? Great. Love it, Jim Carrey. Glad you're a painter. You're amazing. Thank you for adding to this world. It's not what I do, but it doesn't matter. I'm not here to teach you really what I do. I'm not here to teach you to copy me. That's why I'm not going to be doing a lot of painting in these classes. I'm going to be showing you techniques, but that's it. I am not going to be giving you something that I've done for you to copy, because that's not what art is. Art comes from inside, my friends. Art comes from your heart. That's why I want you to pick something you love. It has to mean something to you. Dramatic pause here. It has to mean something to you. So pick something to paint that you love and get ready to put your heart into it. Because in the end, if you pick something you love and you put your heart into it, you get something that has helped you to understand yourself better. You get something that has helped you explore the world. You get something that has challenged you, and in the end makes you feel like you've accomplished something. And I've never had a better feeling than after I have worked through a piece of art that has been challenging and has made me question everything that I know about my life, and on the other side has made me feel like I'm glad I stuck with myself. I'm glad I had enough faith in myself to keep going. Because on the other side of these hard times when we're making things is the feeling of confidence, self-love, is the feeling of pride in what you can do. And that's what working at something can get you. So, prepare your surfaces for Wednesday. I will see you then. Thank you for watching. I'm at Spike of All Trades on Instagram, and I'm on YouTube under Sarah Young, I think. But I'll check it out and I'll give you the real link on Wednesday. But these will be up all the time. So if you need to rewatch anything or get something again, you can rewatch them. They'll be up forever. And you can email me at young.spike@gmail.com if you have any questions at all. I will answer them within 24 hours. I got a lot of time on my hands right now that I'm in seclusion. And so do you. So let's do this together. Thank you for watching. Power to the peaceful.